Hey everyone, welcome back to Hobart's Reviews. My name is Hobart. So today we're going to be diving deep here on the L2 Max from Ausom. Now this is the third Ausom scooter that I have reviewed before. And when they first started out, I reviewed their Leopard and their Gallop. They're really nice scooters, but the L2 Max has a whole new design to it, and I'm really excited to show it to you. Now in today's video, we're going to be doing everything from going over the features and specs to the price point and everything that makes this thing tick. Then I'm going to take you out for a ride, because what would a review video be without showing you how it actually performs in the real world? So we're going to do everything from top speed test, high speed brake test, we're going to ride it in the grass, ride it off-road, ride it up some hills, and then towards the end of the video, I'm going to be giving you real range results from today's ride. We're going to see how close we can get to that 56 miles of range that Ausom says we can get on the L2 Max. So we've got lots to get to today. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get the big question out of the way, the price. Well, Ausom normally sells the L2 Max on their website for $1,049, but right now they have it on sale for just $899. Plus, if you and a friend or you and a family member want to buy one at the same time, they've got a special deal where you'll get an extra $100 off when you buy two. Now, as for colors, well, that's a simple question. You can have any color that you want, as long as it's this color. Now, they also have options for you to pay by Klarna or PayPal if you can't afford all of it up front. And if you like to ride and sit down, they have a seat option you could buy for an extra $150. Let's start off by digging into the hardware. And the main story here is power. And these guys right here, we have dual 1,000 watt motors here on the L2 Max with a peak power of up to 2,600 watts. Now, you should easily be able to climb hills and inclines of up to 46 degrees without any issues. That's impressive. All that power comes from right here in the deck. A 48 volt, 20.8 amp hour lithium ion battery. Now, Ausom says we should be able to get up to 56 miles of range on this scooter, but we all know that's under specific test conditions. So I'm going to be riding in dual motor race mode all day today, which is not how they test. So I'm thinking we're going to get between 25 and 30 miles of range riding like we're going to ride today. But make sure to stick around. Later in the video, I'm going to give you the range results from today's ride so you can see how close we get to that 56 miles. Now, to stop all that power, you need good brakes, and these right here are what you need, both front and rear mechanical disc brakes. Now, you also have electronic braking, which comes from inside the motors, and you can adjust that inside the hidden menu. Now, with a top speed of 40 miles an hour, we need to make sure we can slow down. So I'm going to be doing a high-speed brake test here in a few minutes to see how well they do. For ride comfort, we have front and rear spring suspension. Now, it looks like it is adjustable with a spanner wrench, but for the review, I've left it the way it came from the factory. We'll have to test out how well that suspension works when we ride over those big rocks like we do later in the video. Now, as far tires, we have 10x3 tubeless tires. They are puncture resistant and they have some nice tread on them as well, which means we should be able to ride them in off-road conditions. Of course, we have front and rear fenders, and your headlight is built right into the front of the fender here, which is pretty cool. Now, the L2 Max does fold for easy storage and portability, and it's pretty simple to do it. You just loosen this piece up front, pull on your safety pin, and that's going to release your stem. Then you've got this hook right at the top of your stem that goes into the back of your kick plate. Once you have it engaged, you should be able to pick it up without any issues, so you can store it away or put it in the back of your vehicle. Now, the frame is made out of 6061 aluminum, so it's lighter than steel, but still comes in at 73 pounds. Now, the maximum rider weight on this scooter is 287 pounds, which is kind of a random number, but okay. And to unfold it, you do just like I did. The safety pin locks into place, and you just tighten this piece up front, and you're ready to ride. Now, if you like to ride at night like I do, you do have front integrated headlights right here in the fender. Then you have an integrated taillight back here, and you have left and right blinkers, which show up right here. Now, for deck lights, we do have these two strips that go right down the middle of the deck that glow blue at night, which is really cool. For charging on the go, Ausom has given the L2 Max both a USB-A and a USB-C charging port, so you can charge your devices while you're riding. Now, if you do remove this piece altogether with these two screws, there's space behind it for you to put an Apple AirTag so you can keep track of your scooter. If you like what you're seeing so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more reviews just like this one. And hit that notification bell so next time I put a video out, you won't miss it. Now, let's go ahead and get a tour of the cockpit. Up in the cockpit, things are super simple. We'll start over here on the left. You have adjustable handle grips here. They do have a palm rest on them. If you remove or loosen that screw, you can pivot these and adjust them how you like them. We have a mechanical disc brake, and then down here, a little control panel. Right here, if you toggle to the left, it'll turn your left blinker on. If you toggle to the left again, it will turn it off, and the same goes for the right blinker. You have a horn button here, and then a single motor and dual motor button. So if you want to ride in single motor, you pop it out. If you want to ride in dual motor, you pop it in. Now right here is the hook that goes to the back of your kick plate for when you're folding the scooter, so you can just keep that folded like that. And then on the right side, same thing. We have the grip, we have the brakes, but this is a new throttle assembly, something I've never seen before on a scooter. It is a finger trigger throttle, so the verdict is still out whether I like it or not. I'm getting used to it. And the controls are power button, plus button, and minus button. Now this is your LCD screen in the center. You do have NFC for added security. So if you want to turn on the scooter, you're going to long press the power button. You're going to see some little lines come up top. You're going to touch it, and now your screen is on. Now I'm in extremely bright sunlight, so you're probably not going to be able to see it. It is a full color display, which is nice. You have a battery level down here. You have speed right there. You have your odometer up top. And then you have your different modes over here. Right now we're in park mode, but if you click it once, you go eco, then you have sport, and then you have race mode. Now something to keep in mind, if you are riding it and say you stop at a stoplight or something like that, and you're there for more than 30 seconds, the scooter is going to automatically go back into park mode for some reason. It's actually kind of annoying, and there's no way I've found to turn that feature off. But if you go again and it doesn't move, that's because it has gone back into park mode, and you need to go back into the mode that you want to ride in. All right, enough talk. So I've got 100% battery on the L2 Max. I've got my helmet in the car, so let me get geared up and let's find out what 2,000 watts really feels like. Plus, I'm excited because today I'm going to be filming this ride with my Insta360 X5 camera that I just bought, so you are going to be getting a whole new view of today's ride. So let's go. All right, so the first thing I want to do is a top speed test because we got a full battery, so let's see if we can get to 40 miles per hour as they say. Now I do have the GPS app going right now, so we'll be able to verify that top speed a little bit later in the video when we get our range results. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get started around this corner, and we're going to go balls to the wall that way to try to see how fast we can go. Let's try it. Whoa! Those dual motors are fast. All right, round in the corner, and we're flooring it. 30 miles an hour already. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Woo! All right. It said we got to 42 miles an hour, and that wasn't that hard at all. Woo! All right, let's try it in the other direction. 25, 30, 35, 36, 39, 40, 41, woo! All right, and that's going against the wind. We were still able to hit that top speed. Now you can dial back the acceleration inside the menu. If you don't want it to take off as fast as I've got it here, you can dial that down. Same as with the electronic braking. So I have the electronic braking off. I'm just not a fan of it, but if you want to turn it on and adjust the strength of the electronic braking, you can. All right, let's go ahead and do a high-speed brake test. We're going to get us up to 25, 28, 30 miles an hour, and go. Whoa, all right, well, obviously you heard all that squeaking. There was quite a big trail back there, so the mechanical disc brakes did make a skid. It was a control skid, but wow, really loud screeching brakes, which I am not a fan of at all. So that is going to be a con right away, is that I think it's the front brakes are already squeaking, and I've only gone like 40 miles or so, and they were squeaking pretty much right out of the box. So I'm going to give it maybe like a 6 out of 10 as far as the brake test. Now, they did stop us. We were able to stop. No problem from 30 miles an hour. But I don't like how we locked up and we skidded, and of course that loud squeaking noise. So, okay brake test. All right, so now I want to try out the different speed modes. So we have park, which is park, but then we also have eco mode. So let's find out how fast eco mode will get us. Looks like 18 miles an hour. 18 miles an hour for eco mode. So if you want to go slow, keep it in eco mode. Now we'll go up to sport mode. 25, 26, 27, 28, 30, 32. All right, so it looks like 32 is going to be our top speed in sport mode. And then of course you're gonna be able to hit that 40, 41 miles an hour in race mode. So those are your different speed modes here on the L2 Max. All right, let's test this thing on some grass and see how well it does. We have had some rain lately, so hopefully I won't hit a puddle. But I'm in race mode and dual motor, riding in grass, just barely hitting the throttle, doing 13 miles an hour, and this has got plenty of power to ride in grass. So if you got some grass you like to ride in, don't worry, you'll be all right. You got plenty of power to ride around in grass. All right, so now let's do a suspension test. So they got these big rocks that I like to ride over to test the suspension. So let's see how well this spring suspension holds up here on these big rocks. Let's give it a try. No clickety clanks, which is nice. Yeah, it doesn't do too bad. I gotta be careful in this soft sand because this is how you break your ribs like I've done before. All right, let's do it again. Go a little faster this time. And quiet as a mouse. Unlike these brakes, it's quiet as a mouse. So the suspension does a pretty good job of not only dampening the rocks that I'm going over, but it also isn't making a bunch of clickety-clankety noise as I'm going over it either. And that's one thing that I've noticed about this scooter, is it's a really quiet scooter. They must really have made this scooter really well because there's no noises when you hit bumps or anything like that, where other scooters, you're clickety-clanking all over the place. So to me, when it doesn't make any noise like that, that just says quality. Had a lot of rain over the last week or two, so everything seems to be wet. And ooh, I can go down here. Let's take some off-road. Let's do some off-road. I thought this gate might have been closed. Woohoo! Gotta be careful on stuff like this. Even though we got these tires, still some slippage going on these big rocks. It's another suspension test, and it's quite rough actually. You know, with electric scooters, they are a little dangerous depending on what you're doing. And when you're on stuff like this, you just gotta be careful. I always say if you respect the scooter will respect you. But as soon as you start going crazy, it's gonna bite you in the ass, if you know what I mean. So while I could go faster, I'm doing about 17 miles an hour on these rocks. They're very loose. And I can feel them under my feet sliding a little bit. So just be careful, especially when you have this much power. All right, so I just looked down at my battery when I was under throttle, and it was all the way down to like 2 bars, but it was flashing, which is kind of strange. So 2 bars and flashing. I think I've only gone like 8 or 9 miles so far. Now, off of throttle, if I let go, it looks like we have 3 bars. So we've already lost half of our battery in about 8 or 9 miles, and it was just blinking a second ago. So that kind of worries me. I mean, we're supposed to get 56 miles or, you know, in my opinion, maybe 25 to 30 miles on dual motor. And right now we're at like 8 miles and we're already flashing at 2 bars. We'll just keep riding and see how far it will go. All right, so let's try this in single motor. I'm gonna put it in single motor and let's see what kind of top speed we can get in single motor in race mode. 22, 24, 25, 28, 29, 30. It looks like about 30. 30 is going to be about where we're going to top off in single motor. All right, so maneuverability here. We're riding this sidewalk here. I am still in dual motor and I am in race mode, so I'm going to try to feather it as light as I can here. But riding around on the sidewalks, cutting in, cutting out, and the scooter is very maneuverable. Let's do it here. We'll turn there. We'll go through here. Whoa! So maneuverability is not a problem. Even in race mode, even in dual motor, I'm still able to fly around here, cut all these corners. Let's do this again. Whoa! So you don't have to worry about that. See, all this stuff is new in here because they're still building. So there's a lot of things that I haven't seen or been able to check out yet. And here's a brand new boardwalk, which again, listen, I'm flooring it. Absolutely no noise. Wow, very cool. Yeah, this is brand new. Never been on that one before. And now we're in a totally different neighborhood. This is such a fun scooter to ride. And the best part about it is you can get this scooter for under $1,000 bucks. $899 for a scooter that I would pay $1,500 for. So if you're on a budget, but you still want, you know, that acceleration, that speed, all those features, the NFC, all that good stuff, this scooter right here checks all those boxes for $899 bucks. All right, without the throttle on right now, I got 2 battery bars, but blinking. It didn't stop blinking, so I'm thinking I'm getting towards the end here. I have no idea where I'm at in mileage and range. Probably I would have to guess 13, maybe 14 miles. So I wanted to go ahead and get up on here and try to jump off some curbs and see how it does. So let's do it right here. Ready? Boom! No problem. And you didn't hear anything. Nice and quiet. All right, let's do it here too. Wow, the brakes are really doing a good job because I'm slamming on the brakes, putting them to the test with all this maneuvering. Okay, same thing here. Let's jump off. Woo! No problem. Another thing that I want to point out is how stable this is at 40 miles an hour. This is one of those scooters that is under $1,000 bucks, goes 40 miles an hour, and is absolutely stable and straight when going top speed. There is no speed wobbles at all on the Ausom L2 Max. And that for me is a huge pro. All right, I'm down to zero batteries flashing. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. Let's go ahead and get my range results, and then we'll do our pros and cons. So let's do it. All right, well, that ride was a lot of fun today. Man, I had a blast on this thing. Well, before we get to our pros and cons, let's go ahead and get our range results. So Ausom says that this scooter can get up to 56 miles of range, but the way that they get that is under strict test conditions, which means they have a really lightweight rider ride the scooter. They ride it in single motor, and they ride it in eco mode, and they ride it on a flat surface, and they don't do all that fun stuff that we did today. And that's how they get that maximum range of 56 miles. But obviously we didn't do any of that today. I'm a rider just over 200 pounds. I was riding in dual motor and in race mode, and then you saw all the crazy stuff that we did today. And with that, we were able to get 17.59 miles. So just under 18 miles of range, and when we stopped, we had 0 battery bars and it was blinking, which means it was probably gonna cut off at any moment. So we're not getting anywhere near that 56 miles of range. You could probably squeeze another mile or two out of it and get around 20 miles with the way that I was riding it today. But keep in mind, I do have to disclaimer that if you are gonna ride in single motor, you're gonna get more range. If you're gonna ride in eco mode, you're gonna get more range. And if you're a lighter weight rider than I am, you're gonna get more range. That's just the range of what I got today on the ride with me riding it in dual motor, race mode, doing all that crazy fun stuff that we did today. 17.59 miles. Now, the other thing is the top speed, we were only able to hit 38 miles an hour, and the speedometer here said 42 miles an hour. So it looks like the speedometer is off about 4 miles an hour, and we weren't able to hit that top speed of 40 miles an hour. We were very close, so I'm not gonna ding it for that, but I really wish we could at least get to the top speed of 40 miles an hour, if not 1 or 2 mile an hour more. So there you go, there's your range and top speed results. All right, let's take a look at my pros and cons. What did Ausom do well on the L2 Max, and what could they do better? Let's start off with the things they did well. Number one is gonna be the price to power ratio. The fact that you can get dual 1,000 watt motors, 2,000 watts of power, 40 mile an hour speed, all for under $1,000 is definitely a pro, especially if you're on a budget and you're looking for the features and the speed and the power of much more expensive electric scooters. You can get it on this one right here for $899. Pro number two is going to be the high speed stability. On this electric scooter, when you're going 40 miles an hour, it is straight as an arrow. There is absolutely 0 speed wobbles. There's not even a hint of a speed wobble or a thought of a speed wobble. So they did a really good job at designing and balancing this scooter so that when you are at top speed, you're perfectly stable stable. So that's definitely pro number 2. Pro number 3 is going to be the build quality. So when I don't hear any clickety clanking going on when I'm going over bumps and curbs and things like that, to me that says that they used high quality parts, they got everything tight, and it's built well. So the build quality on the L2 Max is definitely something you would find on a much more expensive scooter. So that's definitely going to be a pro for sure. The next pro is going to be, well, the fact that you can charge while you ride. Yes, you can charge your phone or your electronic devices while you ride, whether with it's a USB-A or a USB-C port. You got it right here on the stem. It uses the battery to charge, so you could have your phone up here, plug it into the stem, and have full charge while you're riding. So that's definitely a pro. The next pro is for under $1,000, we get NFC security. That's right. So an extra layer of security for your scooter. They're extremely popular these days. People are stealing them left and right, and the fact that you have NFC so that you don't have to worry about anybody stealing it and being able to ride away on it is definitely a pro. And my final pro is going to be the lighting. So if you like to ride at night like I do, you got a built-in headlight up front, which does a really good job, being that it's real close to the ground. You got a built-in tail light, you got blinkers on both sides, and of course these deck lights up top, those 2 blue strips on the top of the deck. So the lighting is definitely a pro. All right, so what are some of the things that Ausom could do better here on the L2 Max? Well, number 1 is I didn't reach the top speed. I didn't hit 40 miles an hour. GPS says I hit 38, and the speedometer said 42, which means it's about 4 miles an hour off, and it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. So the fact that I wasn't able to hit the top speed when I have 2,000 watts of power, I was able to do that on other scooters with the same power. So I'm not sure why, if they're doing something with the controller, if they're limiting it somehow, I'm not sure, but I was only able to hit 38 miles an hour today, and that's con number 1. My second con has got to be the range. They say 56 miles. I was hoping for 25 to 30 miles. I only got 17.59 miles of range, maybe 20 if you're lucky. So I'm nowhere near that range, and I'm not even near halfway either. So again, these scooter companies that are doing this testing, that are over-promising range when in real-world conditions, you don't get anywhere near that. So that's definitely a con. And my final con has got to be those squeaky brakes. The mechanical disc brakes have squeaked right out of the box, and I'm not sure why. I've tried to adjust them, I've tried to clean them, and they still squeak. So I'm not sure if it's the brake pad compound or what, but these are some squeaky brakes. Well, that's all I've got for you today. If you have any questions or comments about the L2 Max, make sure to leave them below and I'll be happy to answer them. Also, I'm going to put an affiliate link down below if you do want to purchase an L2 Max, which I highly suggest you do, especially for the price, before that price goes back up. Go ahead and use that link down below. It does help out the channel, but it doesn't cost you a penny more. Well, that's all I got for you today for HobartReviews.com and the Ausom L2 Max dual motor. My name is Hobart. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you on the next ride.